Hi guys! For this video, I suggest grabbing a pen and paper or opening up your notes app because this is going to be a long list of what you need for an outdoor art walk. Right now, I am sitting on the floor because I was just adding gold leaf to my newest painting, which I think is in my eye now. But anyways, so that's what the background is today. But anyways, to start off with this list, you are going to most likely need a 10 by 10 outdoor tent. Now, I use the Quick Shade tent. I'm gonna put it here. I believe it's from Home Depot, but it might have been from Canadian Tire. You can get these at a lot of places if you just search 10 by 10 outdoor tent. I use the Quick Shade one. I found this tent to be great. It works perfect. It has a white, what would you call it, a canopy on the top, which I really like. I suggest getting a white tent over maybe a black tent, because in a black tent it'll be really dark and it'll be really hard to see your artwork, where in the white tent everything it lights right up in there. You can see everything perfectly. For your tent, I highly suggest getting weights. I think in some art walks they might be mandatory, but I would get weights. Either you can get specific weights that go on the tent, like there's like a little cutout in them to place them with the tent, or you can use things like sandbags. If you're on grass, you could even nail your tent into the ground, which could work. Also, for what you need for your tent is walls. These walls are used to display all of your art. You can use grid walls or fabric walls. I've seen people make their own walls out of like a wooden frame and chicken wire. There's so many things you can do if you don't want to buy grid walls. I used grid walls last year. The big pain with grid walls is that they're really heavy and they're just a pain in themselves, but I would say the majority of people use grid walls. This year I'm going to be using fabric walls, which is a little bit of an investment. I think that's why people use the grid walls, is because you can usually get them for cheaper. These fabric walls, they strap to the tent and you can hook your artwork onto them. For your grid walls or fabric walls or chicken wire, you're going to need hooks, which hook onto the wall and then onto your paintings, because on the back of your paintings you're going to need to put wire on them to hang them up, preferably, and then you will need a S hook. The hook is shaped like an S to hook into your wall and then hold the wire on the back of your canvas so that it stays up. S hooks are pretty strong. Most of mine come from Amazon. That's a good place to get them. For your tent, weather kind of depends on the time of year and location, but if you think it might rain, you either want to get a waterproof tent, which some of them I think are waterproof and some of them are not, or you're going to want to spray your tent with a waterproof sealant spray type of liquid. You can get stuff like that at Canadian Tire and probably Amazon as well. This will just prevent any catastrophes. If your artwork gets wet, that would be horrible, devastating if it gets ruined. So I would spray it. Inside of your tent, one of the larger furniture items would be tables. I use just event tables that just pop out, the legs pop out and then you set them right up. I find that the 6-foot table takes up a lot of space inside of your tent. I often go for the 4-foot table as well as the 2-foot table. The 4-foot table I often use to display cards and hold signs and other stuff like that. And then I use a 2-foot table. This one I put somewhere else in the tent, kind of near the outside sometimes. I usually put bins on top of these, which has my 8 by 10s and my 11 by 14s, 11 by 11s, 8 by 8s, and things like that. I also would suggest bringing some kind of chair. These art walks can be long and tiring. Also, under my 4-foot tables, I usually store bins filled with extra frames and extra supplies for the art walk. On top of your tables, you're going to want a tablecloth of some type. I think that the tablecloth just makes it look nicer, neater, more put together. It also hides the bins that I'm storing underneath. I use black tablecloths, and the ones that I get from Amazon have they're like a fitted tablecloth. The feet of the table go inside of these little pockets in the tablecloth, and it just looks super neat and super smooth. It keeps the tablecloth from blowing away, especially when it can be windy outside. Like I was saying about storing bins underneath my table, large plastic bins are probably ideal to drag your stuff around in. I use large plastic bins. So far they have held up great. Especially in the clear bins, you can see what's in what bin unless you have like a label to know. Like one bin is for organization, one is for prints, one is for frames. With clear bins, you can see exactly which bin has what in it. When it comes to your prints, I highly suggest putting them in a plastic sleeve cello bag. This protects them from dirt and scratches, liquids, anything that could happen to them before being sold to your customer. When your customer gets it in this bag, it also prevents anything from happening to it on the way home until it's put in a frame. Very, very important. In my clear plastic bags that my prints are in, I also put business cards in there. Business cards are also something that I lay out on my tables, and people will just walk by, look in your tent, take a business card if they like your stuff. My prints are put in little wooden crates. These are from Canadian Tire, I'm pretty sure. Set up the wooden crates on the tables. People like to flip through the different artworks and see what they like. I have 2 crates, one for my 8x10s and one for my 11x14s. And then for my 16x20s, I have a art flipper thing, which I will put here because I don't even know how to explain it. It folds out kind of like a chair, and you can flip through the big stuff. It holds my large prints, and those come in different sizes too, I believe. It's just another thing to carry, but it works really well. People like to flip through that. For other things I have going on in my tent, I have a banner on the front of my 4-foot or sometimes 6-foot table. With my banner, I just use magnets to keep it up. This year I'm also having a 10-foot by, it's either 10 or 12 inches, I cannot remember at the moment, banner that's gonna go on the front of my tent. The fronts of the tents have like little lips that go over, and that's what I'm gonna put my banner on. A tip I would have for the art walk is that some people are kind of shy and don't want to come up and talk to you, or if they see you staring at them, they'll kind of shy away. So having your bins away from you sometimes allows people to come closer and take a look, and then they will start a conversation. It's also good to stand in your tent or your booth or however you're set up to look inviting. Standing up kind of has a more presenting feel to it. People will feel more invited and welcomed into your tent. I also suggest pricing labels. I don't put sticker labels straight on my prints because I have a big sign that says the price of them, but for my prints that are in frames, I have various size prints in various frames. Those I will put a little sticky label on. If frames is something that you're bringing to the art walk with your art in it, I would bring glass cleaner and paper towel, things to clean your frames. Something to protect the outside glass as well would be a good idea. A lot of the times the frames come with a sticky film. Just put the sticky film back on, it can prevent them from scratches. Back to the business cards, which are a really good idea to have. You can also make QR codes. You can print out little QR codes, which I believe you can do on Canva. And you can just put those on your table with your Instagram or any other social medias. People just whip out their phones and they'll follow you, which is great. For payment methods, you could do cash, which kind of limits you. A lot of people don't have cash on them, Some people for art walks specifically bring cash, knowing that some people only take cash, but it's good to have either e-transfer, or what I use is the Square. It's great. I have just the Square one, and people just tap their card on it, or you can use Apple Pay. Works. It hooks up to your phone, shows the price. It's great. It also organizes all of the things that you have to sell. Click it, immediately works perfect. And then again, for packing stuff, I use those clear bins. They can accumulate. You can have a lot of bins depending on what you're bringing. You might want a cart. I use a large wagon from Costco, and I put all my bins in there, and it has a little stroller. You can just drag it along. Big heavy duty wheels. Sometimes you're walking over concrete, sometimes you're walking over grass. It can be a struggle to get to your spot if you can't park close to it. Also, when it comes to weather, having tarps for your paintings to protect them could be a good idea. With these outdoor art walks, food, bathroom situations could be complicated. It's good to scope out and read into what that might look like before then. There's sometimes people there to watch over your booth if you need to go grab some food or go to the bathroom, but you really want to be there at your booth all the time because volunteers can't sell anything for you, so it's good to bring water, definitely, especially if it's really hot out. Extra things to bring that you might not think about are pens to write down prices on your little stickers, tape, you never know when you need tape, clear Scotch tape, great, as well as zip ties. Somehow we always end up using so many zip ties at these things to hang up different paintings from different areas. Sometimes we needed to hang the larger paintings from the racking on the top, zip ties to tie down the grid walls to each other or to the posts at the ends of the tents. But yeah, these art walks are so fun. I love doing them. You get to see and talk to so many people, promote your art, see other people's art, get inspiration. You learn things from the people that come by to talk to you. It's great. It's so amazing. But you definitely want to be prepared, and you definitely want to know what to bring, because you're gonna learn more and more and more what's easier, what's better, what you need to do for the next time. Every single time you go, it is a learning process, but it is so much fun. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be part of my artist journey, you can subscribe and follow along. This is going to be so much fun, and I am so excited for this upcoming art walk, and I hope your art walks go amazing as well.